watching the Buddy Pough Show, featuring highlights of the defending back-to-back MEAC champions, SC State University Bulldogs. Our sponsors are State Farm Insurance, Orangeburg County, the South Carolina Education Lottery, the Regional Medical Center, Time Warner Cable, Palmetto Health, Advanced Diagnostic Imaging Center, Fats Cafe, Paragon Builders, Bill Owens Custom Clothing, and Whitash Furnishings. And now, here's Coach Buddy Pough and our host, Ernest Robinson.
And welcome once again to another edition of the Buddy Pough Show as we talk South Carolina State football with Bulldog head football coach Buddy Pough. Saturday night, the Bulldogs ventured down to Tallahassee, Florida for the home opener for Florida A&M. South Carolina State comes away with a big 19-0 win over Florida A&M. It's the first time the Bulldogs have shut out the Rattlers since 1935, Coach. 75 years since they've been shut out at home. Quite a showing on the part of your team, both offensively and defensively.
It was. I thought all of our phases played well. Our defense especially, I thought played great. And I got to congratulate Coach Mike Adams and his crew on shedding those guys out. That's really a neat deal. And then I thought the rest of our kicking game came out a lot better this week than we have been playing in the past. And then offensively, we maintained the football, ran about 80 snaps to their 40-some snaps. So I thought all phases held their own.
You talk about the special teams. We talked about it, Coach, before the game. The emphasis in this game particularly, the game is turned on special teams. That turned out to be the difference Saturday night.
It did. Blake Erickson had a tremendous game. And our entire operation, David Davis and Nate Smith, those guys who were holding and snapping and doing those things, did a very nice job. So, I'm really proud of the job that our guys did on Saturday.
Before we kick the game off here on the Buddy Pough Show, let's take a look at South Carolina State starters Saturday night. There's the offensive line. You take a look at those guys. Minus senior Johnny Carver, who missed out on that picture opportunity there. Look at some of the other guys who started on Saturday night. That's the receivers there, Richard Christie, Dwayne Clark, Lamel Elmore, Coach, had a big ball game.
Did have a big game, and, he's starting to make some big plays for us. So hopefully Linnell can continue to do those kinds of things for us.
Chris Massey, Devin Wary also had a big game, Coach, from fullback suspended, carried it off a lot.
We actually got banged up a little bit. Ashton got hurt a little bit, and Devin came in and played. I don't know how we decide on which one of those linebackers to put in there because Donovan Richards is not there, and I'm going to tell you what, he plays as good as any of them. And these guys here in the secondary, I thought all played hard.
That was the way it started on Saturday night. We cannot forget the guys on the special teams. Blake Erickson led the way this past week. 13 points for him. You'll see them all in just a few moments. We'll take a time out here on the Buddy Pough Show. We'll get to Saturday's exciting highlights, the Bulldogs and Rattlers from Tallahassee, Florida, on this edition of the Buddy Pough Show.
Furnishings for this set of the Buddy Pough Show provided by Whitash Furnishings. Whitash Furnishings is a proud sponsor of the Buddy Pough Show.
Good crowd, I should say great crowd on hand. They called it a blackout down in Tallahassee where they encouraged Rattler fans to wear black, and you can see that as the crowd makes its way in. Coach, we won the toss and deferred to the second half.
We like to kick off and try to see if we can get our defense going. Lataris Douglas goes down and makes a nice play. And then we think this was a double pass, and Marshall and Courtney Ingram go over there and make the tackle on it, but I guess we had him covered down there because he didn't throw it.
4-yard loss on the play. Florida A&M went to go 3 and out on their first possession. Bulldogs come back and get it going down the field. This combination, Elmore from Malcolm Long, worked all night.
It did. Malcolm throws a little out route to Elmore, and then we give it to Chris Massey, and Massey is out running and doing his thing. He can do it now. He really can.
Chris Massey carried it on Saturday night, another 100-yard performance for him. And initially, Coach, in that first possession, it seems as if this was going to be an easy night for the Bulldogs.
Well, I never thought it was going to be that way, but you're right. We did have some success there early. And you see Elmore catching the ball over the middle on the seam route. And they eventually get a stop, and we go for the field goal. And you see Blake making the first of his 4 field goals for the night.
Blake Erickson, just a strong field goal opportunity. A 39-yard field goal, 3-0 South Carolina State. After our first possession, 10:35 to go. Florida and back on offense, and here comes the defense.
Yeah, they're getting after him pretty good. And Julius Wilson come off the sides, and Donovan Richards makes a tackle. They end up getting a 4th and short, and they end up putting the ball back to us.
Of course, they decided to punt the football back, get a good punt from Brandon Holden. We go back on offense, and here's the offense again, Chris Massey. And the offensive line up front, Sam Timothy, Nathan, Josh Harrison, Jake Johnson, Johnny Colbert. What a night for them.
Those guys played, I thought, very well. And we tried to throw a little pass out here to the flat to Massey, and he gets stopped. So we end up punting the ball back to them here.
A good punting performance, and Blake Erickson, coach, on both sides. I thought it's tough to be your kicker, place kicker, and your punter, but I thought he did an excellent job, and you see the coverage team here taking advantage.
It's Donovan Richards catches the ball there on the 1 yard line and pitches over to the Fisher, which is, you know, great field position for us. And then we go and rush the pass pretty good. This is Courtney Ingram making a play here. Marshall McFadden, all those guys are running around, getting involved in this play.
Pough, the quarterback, Martin Pough, gets out into the flat. And again, South Carolina State, Donovan Richardson. Donovan Richards, coach, although a lot of times he doesn't start, was a third leading tackler on this game, on the team coming in.
He always makes a lot of plays. And I see Coach Adams working on that drill all the time where one guy forces, another guy tackles, and Marshall forced him back to Donovan, and he makes the play. And, you know, we hand the ball there to Ashton Jordan. Ashton ended up getting hurt a little bit later in the game, but, you know, he did have a nice play there. And then we throw the ball to Elmore. This is the one drop that Elmore had in the game, but, you know, he did come back and have 11 catches for the game. And Julius Wilkerson chasing him around. This is what kind of throws that offensive attack out of whack here, is the fact that our linebackers, you know, run those guys around so much that they just don't get a chance to get comfortable.
We head into the second quarter, 3-0. Bulldogs now really dominating in the stat department, but only 3 points to show for it. Malcolm comes back, and Elmore with the catch up there, coach. And I thought we threw the deep ball. You were concerned about that, throwing it deeper. I really thought we'd finally gotten that established this season.
We threw the ball better down the field. And, you know, we come back and hand the ball. That's Ashton there running the ball. And our running backs are really good. But let me tell you something. They have some space to run, too, because our offensive line does a really nice job. So, you know, Ashton comes again around left edge, left end, and has a nice gain. And we end up throwing the ball back out to the flat. And Mass says one of the things that he's really good at is he catches the ball about as good as our receivers. Play some receiver for us. We end up getting stopped, though, there. And, you know, punt the ball back to him. And you see our team defense. You see a lot of guys being involved here. And, I think Yard finally makes the play, but, you know, you see Jason Ayers, you see, you know, Mason, all those guys involved there in a way where, you know, it's a good team concept. And they punt the ball to us, and Christie runs the football down about to our 4-yard line, and we think, can we go get some points here? I think we end up turning the ball over, doing something here, not getting the points out of this drive. But, oh, I know what we did. We threw the ball out here to Massey in the flat, and we go for a 4th and 1, and they stop us.
40 stacks it up, and down there, you're not going to get too many left foot, right foot spots. So when it's close on the road, you're not going to get those. I
don't really think it was close, though. Those guys did a nice job of stopping us. We got to come up with a little bit better idea sometimes on some of those kind of calls. But, you know, I wanted to go for it. And looking back on it now, the way that we were kicking the field goal, we probably should have taken the points.
Florida A&M getting move the football down. Florida A&M, folks, in this football game, we come up with the interception here, and this is Christian Thompson.
Yes.
And I thought Christian had an opportunity to really take this a little further down.
I was so glad to see him catch that ball. They're driving on us to tie the game up right there in a half. And, you know, I'm telling our offensive staff to kind of let it run out, but then we hand it to Massey here, and Massey gets a pretty good game. So finally we said, well, let's see what we can get out of this thing. And the next thing you know, we down and look like we're going to kick a field goal.
Florida A&M did not get a first down, folks, in this football game. There 2 minutes and 6 seconds to go in the first half.
That was, you know, our defense just played great. And, you know, those guys just did a nice job of shutting those guys down completely. And we come back down and throw another ball out here in the flat. I think Malcolm scrambles and hits Trey Williams out here on the side, and we end up kicking a field goal, and it's about maybe 30-some-odd yards, 40 yards.
39 yards again for Blake Erickson. I tell you what, they were both healthy field goals. That was the way the first half ended on Saturday night. Bulldogs leading 6-0. We'll have a little more on the Buddy Pough Show when we come back on this edition. It's halftime here on the Buddy Pough Show. The injury report, you see Leon Smith went down with a hand injury. Julius Wilkerson, an ankle situation. Ashton Jordan, an ankle situation as well. Coach, talk a little bit about those and, of course, some other injuries as well as this particular ball game. You know, it took its toll.
It did. It was a real rough and tumble kind of game. Anytime you're as physical as you are in these kinds of settings, you get some injuries. And I'm hoping that we can get all these guys back for this game because we need them all. You talk about halftime here on the Buddy Pough Show. South Carolina State, total domination from the defensive end. What was the thought at halftime, Coach, and what kind of adjustments? Because one thing, we talk about the coin toss. When you win and you defer, you're up 6-0. This first possession of the second half would be very important to the rest of the ball game. We wanted to come out and establish ourselves on offense early. We knew that they were running just to the run in a way where they weren't honoring the backside stuff at all. And we tried to do some nakeds and that kind of stuff to make them honor up a little bit and had some success that we ended up throwing an interception there. But at the same time, we knew that we had to mix it up in a way where we could make Florida more balanced on defense because they were taking some chances and having some success at it.
All right, we're going to take a time out here on the Buddy Pough Show. It's halftime. Bulldogs leading 6-0 down in Tallahassee. We'll have your exciting second half highlights when we come back on this edition of the Buddy Pough Show.